Getting down
Getting down
to the podcast.
To the
I'm
podcast.
doing a podcast. Here we
Hey.
are. You lucky listener, you've just clicked on the fucking podcast. I'm not supposed to swear, but I did it anyway. Don't at me.
You are crazy.
This podcast is going to include bad language for a start. It already has.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Lots of them. And opinions. So
Loads
if you
of
don't
those.
like those things, well,
Get out of here.
get out, but
Well-
maybe try watching it. Just give it a go.
Well,
You know,
listen
try
first.
new things.
Listen
Yeah.
first.
Listen.
And then subscribe, listen,
Subscribe.
and follow us on all social media. And
Subscribe and commit to it before you've made an opinion, and then
get out.
get out, and then just ignore it, and it will just download in the background, even if you don't like it. You don't have to listen to it, but it makes me happy.
So yeah, do all of those things. But love us, please.
Hello, and welcome to 250 Reasons to Stay Indoors. I am Jordan,
I am Keiran.
and this is the podcast where we watch the IMDb top 250 films and we say stuff about them. It's a kind of a movie review / comedic perspective podcast.
That last bit was something that you just added.
Thank you.
That's not.
Thank you.
That's I quite like it.
Yeah, I'm doing like David Attenborough hands to sort of get myself into the idea of the podcast.
Well, it's a good thing this is an audio medium.
It is, yeah.
Cool.
So what we do here is we get a random number generator and we put from 0 to 250 and it
Yep.
gives us a number. We go to the list, we find that film and we watch it.
There it is. Okay.
So Kieran, what are we watching this week?
Hotel Rwanda. And it is from 2004, number 191 on the list.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that before?
I have not seen this film. I think it's one of the rare ones where I haven't seen the film and you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud of myself. So what do you think
Proud of
is...
yourself. That's
what-
cute.
Yeah, I'm proud of myself. I haven't seen a film that you haven't.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
And I'm not going to feel bad that you're laughing at me. Like, I'm still be proud of myself. I'm not ashamed that I'm proud. That'd be ridiculous. So, what do you think is going to happen in this film?
I kind of imagine the Rwanda, is that a place?
Yeah, it's a country in Africa.
Okay, all right. I was kind of thinking that. So I'm getting like you know, what's it called? Bates Motel and like what's that film called? You know, a horror film, Psycho. of
Bates
course.
Motel.
Yeah, Bates Motel is a Netflix series based off of the character from Psycho. Basically, they own a
Norman
hotel, and
Bates.
it's yeah. And it's like a horror. So I'm getting kind of like horror vibes with the Hotel Rwanda, but in I guess Africa, so somewhere else like that's hot and like, you know, I guess like tourists coming there and then having a real bad time.
Okay. Okay.
Have you seen this film? You have seen this
Well,
film. So
yeah. So, I mean, it's tricky
what
because
could it be?
just by the name Hotel Rwanda,
Yeah.
because Rwanda sounds like quite a nice, and it sounds like quite a nice word by itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know anything about the history of Rwanda,
No, I do not.
yeah, it's hard for me to make up a story about how the Hotel Rwanda could be quite a nice place because, yeah, straight up it's like the complete opposite.
Oh, okay.
So you're in for a ride,
Yeah.
you're in for a treat. I haven't seen this for years, but I do know what goes down.
But I'm not going to have a fun time. Is that what you're saying?
Just
Don't forget that I usually like the films that are kind of dark and not so great.
what do you mean not so great? As in not so happy?
As in, yeah, not so happy.
Yeah.
Bad
Well,
guys
yeah.
win.
I mean, you'll have a good time in terms of like. I mean, I don't know about the quality of the film. This was ages ago, but just don't be prepared for a happy time.
Okay.
Be prepared for a time.
Okay. All right.
So,
So
see
go
you on
and
the
watch
flip
the film?
side.
On the flip side.
Yeah, on the flip side, after we watch this film.
Okay. And we're back. Kieran, have you got some fast thoughts for me?
Yeah, let's hit it.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Just, I guess, start.
Genocide.
No, God, please, no. Why did we watch this film?
Rwanda.
Fuck.
Crying.
I hate it.
Dead people.
I don't like it.
Stupid white people, Belgians.
No fun.
And sadness.
So much sadness. So much sadness.
There's a lot of sadness.
Fuck.
Yeah. How many times did you cry, Jordan?
I didn't cry.
You didn't cry?
I didn't cry, no.
Okay. I kind of had it coming. It was building up for a while, and then I just went over a brink, and it just all came out. 3 times I cried.
Keiran, have you got a 15-second pitch?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Back in 1994, the Belgians left Rwanda. They had control of it, and they gave all of their power. They were pals with a tribe called the Tutsis, and they gave all the power to the Hutus. And then the Hutus and the Tutsis were hating each other, so the Hutus wanted revenge against the Tutsis, and so there was a massive genocide of the Hutus killing all the Tutsis. A guy who was the manager of a hotel, he kept thousands of refugees, and he eventually escaped with his family.
24 seconds.
What?
What? Yeah. I mean, you kind of started it again.
No.
Yeah. No. When you
the history section 15 seconds?
When you like, and there was a guy. As soon as you went, that was 15 seconds.
Bollocks. Because that's the main part of the story. But I feel like it had to be.
Yeah. I'm not even mad because this was a story that needed to be told.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
Okay. So let's do a proper synopsis of the film. You ready?
Synopsis.
So how did the movie start?
All right, so we're in 1994, and okay, I'm going to do the thing that I just explained.
Yeah, I guess
in the synopsis. Never mind. Right.
But yeah, the first bit that Keiran said is sort of explained right at the start of the film.
So we're in Rwanda, which is a country in Africa, and the Belgians had control of. It was a Belgian colony, and they were pals with the Tutsis.
Yeah.
And the way that they chose the Tutsis was they were the Rwandans with the thinnest noses and the lightest skin, just some classic racism.
Yeah.
And they were hating against the Hutus. But when the Belgians left Rwanda, and when Rwanda got its independence, the Belgians gave the power to the Hutus. And so the Hutus were like, well, let's get our revenge on the Tutsis.
Yeah.
And it was super, super tense, and there was already violence and everything. But then there was a UN peace resolution supposed to be happening. And this peace resolution was signed, and the president, I think it was president of Rwanda, not prime minister, president, signed it. But then the day after, he got killed by the Tutsis. And so the Tutsis took over the power, and they started killing just a massive genocide of by the end of it there were 1 million people that were killed, Tutsis and Hutus, but mostly Tutsis. And so
it's genocide.
I think I might have got the names mixed around. The Hutus were committing a massive genocide against the Tutsis. There we go. Now the film opens with a guy called Paul
Rusesabagina.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Very good indeed. And he is a Hutu, and he is the hotel manager and he ends up running the whole hotel. And he's going around and he's buying things because he's got to buy some supplies from his mate here. And we see him being a really good businessman and being super diplomatic and being nice and charming, but not in a way that's like sneaky.
Yeah.
He's just a really, really nice man, and he's like so if there's a general in his hotel who enjoys a scotch, he says to the person behind the desk, can you put 2 bottles of this scotch in the captain's briefcase?
And we learn a bit about sort of how maybe the country is ran, in as much as he gets his supplies from a guy who is also shipping like machetes and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he's part of the Tutsis.
No, he's part of the Hutus.
Sorry, he's part of the Hutus. Yeah.
So he's like a slightly shady character, and we see that Paul has to do sort of dealings with this kind of guy to get products like beer and whiskey and stuff like that. Like that's the guy that gets those sort of things into the country.
Mm-hmm. Also, at this point, we've got the UN there. So the UN they had a presence at the hotel because the press conferences from the UN were being taking place at the Mille Collines hotel, and now
in Rwanda.
Now, once the president gets killed, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And the Hutus start massacring all of the Tutsis that they can get their hands on.
So there's like a Hutu rebellion. There's input from like a radio propaganda that sort of keeps going throughout the whole film, progressively getting sort of worse and telling people to commit these vile acts of terrorism.
And you've got so the radio is like a really big presence in this thing. You've got the Rwandan military.
Yeah.
Is the Hutu military. And you've also got just the I guess, I don't know if the word guerrilla military.
Yeah, you've got like sort of, well, it's the Hutus, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the rest of the Hutus who aren't in the military.
Yeah.
And then you've got Tutsi rebels as well.
Yeah.
So people who are trying to fight back who are part of the Tutsi tribe. Now, guarding the hotel from the rest of the Hutu tribe is some of the police force, the Hutu police force, but also the UN.
Yeah.
Now, several times people run away from wherever they're living because the Hutus are just like killing all the Tutsis, and they loads of orphans come into the hotel, but the hotel is still operating as a hotel. It's for a long time. It's still operating.
Yeah, and when shit really hits the fan, we see Paul telling the staff that they need to maintain this facade that it is running as a hotel still, and that's sort of the thing that's providing them the most security. Is that they believe that the rebels believe that the what is it, the meal I can't remember the name of the hotel.
The Milcolin.
Milcolin is sort of a Belgian hotspot sort of thing, you know, like
yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's kind of guarded by the UN, and they're not to sort of go near there.
Even though the UN end up leaving the Milcolin.
Yeah.
After, so all the white people who were staying at the Milcolin, and then the president got killed, all the white people were like, shit, get me out of here.
Yeah.
And so all of those countries just pulled all of their civilians out of Rwanda and didn't help the Rwandans at all.
No, yeah.
So the US, UK, the French, all of them, all the Belgians and all that, didn't do nothing to help.
Yeah. So as the situation is escalating, we see this really heart-wrecking scene where basically all of the white people leave the hotel in buses and the rest of the Rwandans are not allowed on.
Even when there's people from like the Red Cross and whatever who are coming in, or people who are helping in orphanages and stuff, they're bringing their kids into the hotel, and then they go on a truck to be taken to their native country.
Yeah, so there was
they're like crying. That was the first time.
There was like what's it called, missionaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That were sort of protecting orphans and stuff like that, and stuff like that. And we see them leaving.
So the film progresses. In as much as the violence continues, and Paul is still the head of this hotel, but also he realizes he's got no support from the UN, really, and so he's trying to call in favors from anyone. There's one point where the Hutus are straight up just come into the hotel and gone past all the barriers and everything, and they're literally about to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And then he calls up the person who's like the overall owner of the whole company.
Yeah. Sabina,
yeah. And he's like, yo, I'm literally about to die.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you've done. And thank you for everything you've done for my family. I guess it says goodbye. And the guy's like, hold up 1 second. Let me just call the president of France.
Yeah.
And then the president of France pulls some strings or something, gets in touch with the Rwanda.
Capitalism.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And then the Hutu military and all of that, they pull out.
Yeah. And basically everything just sort of escalates consistently to the point where finally, after Paul has got any of the moderately influential guests to make any calls they can, they organise for some transport out of the hotel to certain names. So some people are sort of given passage out. Paul is one of them, Paul and his family. By
the way, the family have a really big role in this film. It's not as if it's just Paul the whole time. No. It's Paul's wife is a huge character in this film.
Because Paul's wife is actually a Tutsi, and obviously his children are half Tutsi as well. Paul was a Hutu. And so Paul was obviously got the safety of the guests, but also his his family are at risk as well. He gets his family onto the truck and then decides to stay because he sees all the people that he's going to be leaving. And as he's sort of running the show at this point, I imagine he feels that all chaos will go when he's gone. So
obviously his wife is distraught.
yeah. And we also see a one staff member, Hutu, called Gregoire, who's been sort of blackmailing Paul, I guess, to get benefits from the hotel because he knows that Paul's wife and kids are Tutsi. And Gregoire then goes and tells the Hutu rebels that there's influential guests leaving, and they set up an ambush. The ambush is somewhat successful. People do get hurt, but they're able to sort of turn the trucks around and they go back to the hotel. So they're sort of back at square one. Again, more fighting and more chaos, and then they organize for all of the everyone at the hotel to be moved to behind behind the line of fire. They get onto the right side with the rebels. With
the Tutsi rebels, behind the Tutsi rebels.
The Tutsi rebels and the government military, and they're sort of taken to their freedom, their safety from there.
And it's the UN HQ, I guess.
Yeah, essentially. And that's where the film ends, with us seeing that Paul and his family and the rest of the people sort of got there safe. They find Paul's wife's, Paul's brother-in-law's children. His brother-in-law and his wife are never found again. And then we get some of those classic end credits explanations to what happened, because this is based off of a real story and real people.
Paul's a real dude.
Paul is a real dude who did do this sort of stuff at a hotel. I don't think it's the same name, but yeah.
No, same guy.
Oh,
because it's
no. I mean the hotel. I don't think the hotel is the same.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I'm
okay. I'm not sure, but
okay.
Yeah.
That point where they find the brother-in-law's kids. That's another point I cried as well. There was a point in the middle as well. I don't know when that was, but
I didn't cry, but I just felt really uncomfortable throughout the whole thing, and was just really like clued in. Well, not clued in. Really like felt a connection to Paul, who was played by Don Cheadle. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, it was a good film, but it's going to be hard to make jokes at its expense.
Yeah, I think it was more than a good film for me. I thought it was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of things that I like. It has drama, it has family things, but also it's just extremely harrowing. You see just so many dead bodies, and it's just a genocide. Like, okay, there were a few things that I had beefs with.
Okay, you want to go into beefs?
Let's go into beefs.
Okay.
So, my first thing is that you can just tell that something's going to happen with the family, and I just didn't like, because they put so much importance on showing the joy of the family as well.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you just know that some shit's going to go down. And it really, really does. So at one point they're at their own house and there's police outside and everything. And the boy, so there's two daughters and a boy in Paul's family. The boy runs away to the neighbors or something like that to try and...
Yeah.
Or he's scared or something, but he freaks out. And Paul finds him underneath a hedge.
Yeah.
With blood all over him, and he thinks that he's injured, but actually he's not.
Covered in.
He's just absolutely covered in blood. And so this kid is now fully traumatized.
Yeah,
for the rest of the film.
Just in shock, and we don't really see much from him for the rest of the film. He's just like a shell.
Yeah.
We see later on in the film, he's like just hiding under the bed at one point.
And flinches at every single touch kind of thing. And it's just really scary. And you just know that every single kid is just traumatized.
Yeah. But there are a lot of scenes of where they've got, because obviously there's so many orphans, and they're sort of doing like a school thing, like there's dancing and singing and stuff like that going on to sort of entertain the kids.
Yeah.
And those scenes are really, it's nice and harrowing at the same time.
Because life goes on, but it's just such a, I guess, to say it very mildly, it's such a stress. They still have to.
Yeah, the whole time
I'm
going through this film and I'm thinking, right. So it's like, when you've got a cold, and you when you have a cold, you're like, oh, I really need to appreciate next time I don't have a cold.
But it's like that on the next level.
It's just like, yeah, exactly.
Like,
this is what I'm saying.
When you have a blocked nose and you think of all those times that you could breathe freely, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I'm watching this film and I'm just like, I'm really glad that there's not genocide going on where I live, because like that is just something. Like these people are acting like a situation where there's genocide. I don't think you could ever truly capture that as an actor. I just don't think. I can't imagine the amount of stress that you must be under, especially Paul, because he's trying to run stuff. He's trying to keep everyone alive. There's a lot of people, and he's doing things not just in the interest of himself or his family, but in the interests of over 1,000 guests and staff. He's just like against the wall, unreal levels of just.
And he does crumble.
Yeah. There's a scene when he's gone back to get some supplies from this unsavory character, who he gets all of his food and beer and whiskey from, and at this point they're all sort of fully militarized and going out to kill all of these Tutsi. Like he's
Bringing
quite
back
that's what that guy's
Tutsi
about.
prostitutes and things like that.
Yeah. So they go to that sort of camp, and he tells Paul that, you know, it's double the price and all they can sort of spare is 12 bags of rice and
some beans
and stuff, very basic stuff. Able to get some beer, but not whiskey.
That's right.
And when he leaves, he tells him to take the path by the lake or something.
Take the river road. It's clear.
It's clear.
And he's probably thinking, it's clear, as in there's no military there. There's no.
Well, yeah, because basically what happens is they're driving through the mist, and then all of a sudden the van is like shaking uncontrollably, like he's driving through serious potholes. Paul tells, this is Gregoire who's gone with him. Paul tells Gregoire to pull over the car as he gets out.
No, he doesn't pull over the car. Like the car.
Or stop the car.
Okay.
He tells him to stop the car. He stops the car.
Okay.
The van. And when he gets out of the van, he immediately falls over like dead bodies. He looks down, and as far as his eye can see on the road, there's just dead bodies littered down it. So I thought that was maybe like the dude who sent him away down that path's way of like enforcing to him like just how much damage they've done, because it was just before that he said we've killed almost half of them. I think he's just almost showing off at that point.
But I reckon it's both. Yeah. I reckon it is also the least militarized path, but also it is the one.
Yeah, I mean he wasn't wrong. It was clear,
bodies,
but yeah, I mean you can't actually drive across that. So why would he have sent him down that other than to go look at you fucking dick?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a point where they're in the house, and loads of the neighbors and the brother-in-law has come to the house because they're basically scared, and they're hiding in the house with all the lights off and everything. There's power cut and all this, but still they're hiding all in one room. Paul discovers them, and the next morning they're listening to the radio. Yeah, and that's when they discover that the president's been killed, and the Hutus come in, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna kill you all," and Paul's like, "Have this money, I will pay for them." And the guy's like, "This pays for one cockroach."
Fucking dick.
Yeah, and so he goes round and he's like, "Give me all, please." Paul asks his family and friends and everything, "Give me all your jewelry and everything. I want to try and pay this guy off." Yeah, and he says, "It's still not enough." Yeah. And so he says, "It's at the hotel, so I can get it in the hotel. Yeah, please, please, I beg of you. If you let us go to the hotel, I'll give you the money then." And then it's calm.
Sorry, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, so Paul's got this minivan. Yeah. It's the kind of vibe is that it's driver, then passenger seat, and I'm going to say maybe 6 seats in the back. Yeah. But he's got his family, which is him, his wife, 3 kids. Then brother-in-law's wife, 2 kids. Yeah. And then the rest of the fucking neighborhood just all pile into the back of this van. I'm saying there was 22 people in this van.
I'm going to need to see the risk assessment on that one, because I just don't feel that's where everyone would have died.
Also, you don't ever see them...
There's not enough seatbelts.
You never see them filling up for gas as well.
No.
That's something that you don't see. And I
didn't even see a petrol station.
That's true. And whenever there's vehicles, I want to see petrol stations. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it really grips me out of immersion.
Nice callback to what was that, 5 episodes ago?
Thank you.
Anyway, Yeah, so they arrive at the hotel and then they get the money and all that. But I just wanted to really, really flag up the fact that I just don't think it's possible that you could fit that many people in the van. Also, there's another point where they're in the hotel and I think it's Dubé says, who is Paul, he's one of the hotel staff.
he's like the
But his
bus
buddies-
boyish kind of
And he's
dude.
buddies with Paul's.
Yeah.
His buddies with Paul. And he says, what if I lose my job? It's like, fuck me, mate. What if you lose your life? Like, there's way more important things at stake than your job here. But I guess it all plays into the whole trying to keep the hotel thing going on. I got beef with the fact that the French supplies the Hutu army, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
So that's the string that the guy who owns what's the bloody name of the chain? The
Sabina.
Sabina, yeah, the guy who owns Sabina, or it might be Mr. Sabina or whatever.
Sabine.
Yeah, old Sabine. He must have called up the press and been like, "Orion, can you stop supplying the Hutus, please? Or can you tell him to piss off?"
Is that a little French thing you did there?
Yeah. That's how you translate from English to French. It's what Google Translate does is it prefixes anything you type with the word Orion.
Okay. It's just because you are actually French, so I thought that would have been a better accent of a French person instead of like a mockery of a French person, which is what you'd expect from me,
because
a non-French person.
The good thing about what I just did is that it means that you understand it, but also the fact that I said Orion.
Well, now you're just making assumptions about my level of understanding, and personally, I'm quite offended.
Because I know how much French you speak. How much French do you speak, Jordan, for the listeners?
I speak enough. I get by.
Okay, so if I said... So what the guy was saying to the president of France, he would say, "Enfin, est-ce que vous pouvez ne pas donner les armes à l'armée de Hutu, s'il vous plaît? C'est vraiment, j'ai un copain là-bas et il va mourir."
Oui. Yeah. See, I understood that.
So what did I say?
You said what the guy said. Well, what he would have said, or one of the in between. There's a line.
Okay, good.
That you balked it.
So I didn't need to say.
Honky honk.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll make sure I take that out. Anyway, I just was pissed off to the fact that the French supplied that army because it's like, for God's sake, come on.
Okay.
Also, I just thought it was ridiculous that he could just call the French president. Just a guy who owns hotels can just call the French president.
No, that's not ridiculous. Why is that ridiculous?
Because he owns hotels. It's not as if he's...
But that's what I'm saying. That's
maybe
why
they
I
go
did the
way
little
back.
Capitalism. Because it's just like, well, no, he's like a CEO of a very successful hotel. I'm assuming a chain. I'm sure they don't just have a hotel just in Rwanda, which a lot of dignified politicians go to. He's obviously going to have some sort of political ties. It's just imagine Paul's a manager of that hotel, and he's got quite a lot of sway and influence just in around the people that his guests and stuff like that.
So the guy who owns
that owns it is of course he's going to have really strong political alliances and things.
Okay.
So fuck you, Keiran. I want to go into my beef now.
Okay.
Bloody Tatiana.
What about her?
Just stop doing that. Stop
what?
it.
Stop doing what?
In my head, that's just all I kept saying.
Stop doing what?
No, I'm not going anywhere about those children. I'm sorry. But look, you need to...
But what's your beef with her?
My beef is that she needs to start being realistic with what's going on. She needs to realise that everyone's lives are in danger. Her and her children, I would have expected her to, had some sort of okay... So I really want to find these children, but I also want to make sure my children are safe.
Okay.
So when she's telling them that she's not going anywhere unless she finds the children and stuff like that, just making Paul's life a bit of a misery, just trying to she just like budge on so many situations. There's like times when he's got right. So when they first went to go and find his son Roger, yeah, like there's shooting and shit and screaming going on outside.
Yeah,
Paul's like, stay here. She's like, no, and comes out with him. And it's just like, well, now Paul's got to worry about you as well as himself and his son. Like, you aren't helping by being there because she was already so like, she didn't have a calm head or anything. She's not going to be like able to drop out some tactical maneuvers. She's going to fucking flail around.
Yeah, if she was more tactical, then she would have been much more helpful. But at the same time, at that point, the rest of the kids were inside with everyone else. So they could have just done a little dual thing there. Yeah. Just been them two, because it's not as if the kids were by themselves. But I do agree that there are points where she's just being a bit. I don't know. I would have. I don't
want it to come across as I'm saying that she's being weak or anything. If anything, she's being too strong for the situation. she's like, no, I'm not leaving unless I found these children. In situations like that, it's like, look, be realistic. There's a lot of pressures going on here, and you're not helping by doing what you're doing. Like, we need to make rational decisions.
Yeah, but Jordan, put it this way: if that was your mum and dad,
right,
who you just so firmly believed that they could still be alive,
yeah,
would you not do everything you can to find out if they were still alive?
yeah, but I'd also, I mean, this is my dad we're talking about. I feel like he has like multiple bunkers and situations. Like, my dad plans ahead, so I wouldn't.
So
I'm not a very
so you
good
would just go
example
to
of
any
this.
of those bunkers, one of which is the
Well,
one
no,
in Scotland.
I would feel confident that my dad would be able to. Well, my mom and my dad would be able to keep themselves safe.
Okay, well,
So that's what I mean. I'm a bad example.
what I'm trying to hit on is that you love your parents very much.
Yeah.
So, okay, now let's imagine that they're not very able to deal with
maybe
that situation.
my sort of maybe the reason why I can't really get on her level is
You don't have kids.
yeah, I don't have kids, so I don't know that sort of bond. But it's not her kids. This is my issue. It's not her kids she talked about. It's her nephew. It's her nieces.
Yeah, but she knows that part of the reason is that she knows that her niece's parents, so her brother and her and sister-in-law, that they're dead.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh fuck, they've got no one, and they're going to be orphans, and we're just going to leave them. So she doesn't want to budge on that because she knows that there is still a hope out there, and she'll do everything she can. So I don't think that's too extra. It's just the way that she deals with certain things. That being said, Paul does sometimes bring things up at the wrong time.
Such as?
So have a little date, and everyone's eating food.
Oh God, yeah.
Everyone's eating food in one of the rooms, and he's set up on the roof of the hotel.
Very romantic.
Yeah, it's very romantic. He's got candles. He's got some cushions.
Bullets for shooting stars in the background.
So check this out. Right at the start of the film, well, not near the start of the film, the day after the time where the son gets covered in blood and everything.
Yeah.
And the president's not been killed yet. It's just before the president's been killed. There's like one shot that gets fired outside the house.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where it's in the middle of the conversation and it goes bang. And they're like, and the conversation resumes.
Yeah.
Because hearing one gunshot is a big deal.
Yeah.
But they're so desensitized to the whole thing by the time the date comes about that they're just
having a date.
Outside and there's gunshots going on and they can still be romantic. I thought that was impressive. But then, so they're talking about this time where blah, 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 romantic things, lovely, lovely, lovely. And I'll come back to that in the bits and bobs. But then after all that romantic stuff, Paul says, oh, and by the way, if I get killed, you need to jump off the roof with the kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, time and a place, mate. Because then she's like, I don't want to talk about this now. I don't want to talk about this now. Please, 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 please. And he's like, promise me, promise me, promise me. And I think, okay, you could talk about that in the day when, at least.
Yeah, you sort of have managed to capture, a situation where there's no like immediate threat and you can kind of relax. You don't really need to bring that up right now.
Also, after they try and run away, or with the UN and everything, and there's this, they go straight into the ambush and they come back.
Yeah.
She's hella pissed off at Paul because Paul was like, yo, we're going to leave everything, bye everyone. And then he's like on the sly, I'm going to stay. And then he stays. And she's screaming because she wants him to come with him, but he's like, no, you'll be safe there. I've got to look after the hotel. I'll come find you and everything. And then shit goes down and he's like, fuck, 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 fuck. They come back. She's just nearly been killed.
Yeah.
And she has a massive like go at him.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of shuts her down. He's like, no, 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 I love you, I love you. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I would let her be angry at me. If I was Paul, I'd be like, all right.
Well, no, she sort of seemed to just diffuse herself a bit.
Only because he's kind of stifles it, I reckon.
I think she was just like, at that point, she's just literally so shocked, so angry, so
takes off her
upset.
ring.
So yeah, exactly. Like, she's just like frantic. And then like he just sort of hugs her and I feel like she sort of just is sort of deactivated more by the hug than anything. And I feel that that's more of a natural way of soothing someone. I don't think it was necessarily his words that did it.
Okay. All right. I'm all out of beefs. I've got a few bits and bobs.
Yeah, no, I don't. That my main beef was just with really. I've made a few notes around Tatiana and Roger maybe needing to snap out of it. I guess from
Roger.
Yeah, his son.
Oh yeah.
I think
Dude.
on reflection, I'm looking
Mate,
over
you're
my
telling-
notes and making myself feel like I need to chill out a bit.
You're telling I think he's 5 years old. You're telling a 5-year-old kid who might have
Boy,
seen.
you need to calm down.
Stop thinking about the fact
escalating
that
the
someone
situation.
got beheaded.
We need to make some right.
No.
Right. Roger, you go and get some paper and some crayons. Let's do some risk assessments now. Let's get this place up to code.
Maybe that's what
Move
they should have done. Maybe he should have used his kid's awareness of the situation. Listen, what you've got right now is a kind of spidey sense.
Yeah.
So you might be a bit frail right now, but hey, let's use that as a superpower. So let's channel that into some admin. Yeah. Let's do some risk assessments.
Yeah.
I'll have you as my right hand secretary man.
Yeah.
And that's how we'll put this trauma into a job.
I think maybe we need a new 250 Reasons segment where we just take a second to talk about how we can bring administration into a film to solve the issues. Like where we can just a part of the film where we can add an element of admin which would de-escalate the issues to come.
The past 15 seconds, I've been smiling so broadly because that just sounds so soothing and that sounds beautiful.
It made me think though. I've recently at work myself been going over some like emergency information documents and stuff, and we have
Is that just some light reading? Just because you were
no,
on
it's
your
stuff
break
that
time?
needs updating stuff.
Okay,
we have a risk assessment in place in case there is some form of genocide.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a hotel,
What does it say?
in a country, I don't know, I didn't read it. But
Why would you? That's like the most interesting thing.
This is what my point. Now I'm going to go read it. I'm going to be thankful for the fact that I'm not in genocide and read about what I'm going to do in that situation. So when that situation comes, I'm a little bit more prepared. So thank you, Hotel Rwanda. You've inspired me to make sure that I am prepared for situations of genocide.
But let's say a genocide breaks out just like, just like that.
Okay.
I don't think you really want to be the kind of
Genocide.
yeah. But you're not going to be like, guys, I read about this.
Guys. Come here. Quick. Right, okay.
So this is how it goes down.
This is what we're going to do, okay? I don't actually.
Well,
I should have read it. Exactly. This is
you should have come prepared.
Highlighting
Jordan.
the
you
situation.
Knew you were going to watch this film.
I know. I didn't know what the film's about though. In my defense.
Anyway, I want to go into some bits and bobs.
Do it.
Right at the start of the film, the guy has some cigars. Paul has some cigars, and he goes to his slightly dodgy friend, or ends up being a very dodgy friend who sells him the things. And he's a rich guy, and he says to Dubé, who's driving the car, says, I'm not going to do the accent. I might do the quote in what is an approximation of the accent, but anyway.
Okay, well, I'm interested to see what that means.
It's a very short quote, so I'm hoping I might get away with it. Anyway, he's saying that if I give this guy loads of money, it's no big deal because this guy's got money. But if I give him a peng cigar, then he's going to be like, this cigar is hella nice.
Yeah.
And Dubé's like, I see what you did. And he says, that is style, Dubé.
That wasn't bad.
That was
good.
Yeah, and I just thought that quote was kind of cool. And some of the other quotes were kind of, I was a bit unsure of the whole "leave these things to my good judgment" quote.
Yeah,
that was a little bit like "shut up, darling."
I had some issues with that myself.
Yeah, I wasn't, and also because he's taking on all the responsibility, and you see him crack.
Yeah,
and that point was just like for me
as in a situation where Paul is in a job where he has to maintain high levels of control. And I feel that maybe that's part of his character. He's a person that needs to have control over situations.
I mean, he needs to as the hotel manager.
That's
anyway.
what I'm saying. Okay, so he's brought that into his own life.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say just the only bit of trivia that I wanted to bring in at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Is that obviously the film is based off of this guy, but apparently in the actual situation, he was less heroic than is portrayed in the film.
Oh, really?
And there was like a bit of an uproar about it.
Oh, I just dropped my pen.
Okay.
I didn't even drop it.
Do you want me to pick it up for you? Or
no,
you okay?
no, I'll just leave it there. But I just think that the sound might have been carried through. But
okay, listeners, that was a pen.
That was a pen. Just
so he would... Obviously, loads of people keep coming into the hotels we see throughout the film. And in the actual situation, he would... ask them for money for entry to the hotel, and he would sort of divvy out entry with preference to more wealthier people first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see how like that's practical, but I mean at this point is money really going to be that helpful? I guess it is because he's using it to bribe the
so it's kind of tricky, and also he wants to still operate as a hotel, that whole thing. Yeah. Okay. A few other things.
Mm-hmm.
I just, when all the white Belgians came to take out all the white people, I just thought, just all of the white people that were in the hotel, they were like, oh, they're here. And it just acted as if it was some kind of, like it was Christmas. And they all left and it was happily ever after for them.
Yeah.
It was almost funny the way how horrific, like, do you know what I mean? Like, as in that, like all the white people are leaving and all the black people are staying.
Yeah.
And it was almost funny how jubilant all these white people were in the face of this huge trauma. And then one thing I genuinely did find funny was the guy from the UN, who was like the colonel from the UN, goes up to the Belgian people and is supposed to say like, so what's the deal? You sticking around? You're going to help us out? And the Belgians are like, nah, we're just taking all the white people.
Yeah.
And the colonel was like furious. He's screaming at this guy. We don't actually hear what he's saying, but you can just see him screaming at this guy. And he gets his hat and he throws it on the floor.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that ever. But someone ever be so angry that you take your hat off and you throw it on the floor.
It's also what the hat represents, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah. It's like his whole, like him being the colonel.
And the UN and who has now pulled out and won't be providing any support. It's like, why would I want to wear these colors? Because this guy is clearly quite what's the word I'm looking for? Like his moral compass is obviously pointing to the right direction.
But there's only so many things he can do with his job.
And it's like, fucking UN, throw this shit on the floor, fuck everything.
But then he has to pick up his hat as well.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so
it's
it kind of degrades the anger that he has. But yeah, anyway. Oh, and then there's that horrific scene, which I'm obviously not going to say the N-word that he says.
Yeah.
But he says, all these countries, the UK and everything, they don't know how.
They think you're dirt.
They think you're dirt. You should be spitting in my face because he says you're not even an N-word. You're an African.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, the racism was rife. This is at the time of Nelson Mandela. Like
but I mean, that wasn't him being racist, was it? I think he was conveying a point there.
Yes. I've got a question.
Go for it.
So this question is to do with the journalists.
Yeah.
So is it not Liam Neeson?
No.
Who is that Scottish guy?
Don't know.
Dude, that's some fucking
Neeson,
famous.
no. I didn't recognize him.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have a look at the cast, and I'll be like, I swear.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Anyway, so
I recognize the other guy, the camera one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know where I saw him from.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So there's the camera guy filmed some wicked footage of, well, it's good for the news, I guess. It's just like bare dead people and stuff, and then comes to the guy who's the journalist, and he's like, use this on the news. And the journalist looks at the thing and he's like, oh, we've got to use this on the news. So he calls up some guy in some news station somewhere in some other country, and he's like, yo, I'm going to send this to you now. You got to lead with this. This is the best news. Like, you got to use this tonight.
Yeah.
How do they get that footage?
They had like a whole setup, didn't they? With like all of their equipment and stuff in a room.
Yeah. But how do they get that across the world in a day?
What do you mean, how do they get that across the world?
Well, answer that question. How do you get that videotape?
They send it back to the news people, and then the news people broadcast it and send it on to wherever else it's going.
Yeah, but how do they send it on? That's what I'm saying.
How do they send it on?
How do you get
Kieran?
that footage across? Because they're not going to broadcast that from Rwanda.
No, they send it back home.
How do they send it, Jordan?
Kieran, they've got like a whole setup. There's computers and stuff like that. They probably just fucking emailed it. I don't know.
But
Dropbox.
This is what I'm saying.
Google Drive.
This is what I'm saying. Back in '94, there was no Google Drive. There was no WeTransfer. There was no Dropbox.
But there was still news and broadcasting from
So this
other
is what
countries.
my question is, Jordan. How do they do it?
Oh, Kieran, I don't do journalism. I don't know, but they have a way, didn't they?
Bloody TV. I'm not accepting this, Jordan. We have to explore this idea. What do they do?
Kieran, I don't have the answer for you, but all I can say is it's not that ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
Because
Kieran,
think of it realistically.
Kieran,
What?
It's not that ridiculous.
But
no,
you're
no,
providing me with no answers.
I don't have an answer for you
So
because
how
I don't
can you
know
tell
how
me
they do
that
it.
it's not still
It's
ridiculous?
not ridiculous. They probably have systems, don't they? They have like bloody as if they don't have some sort of telephone line way of sending information like that across. CDs were CDs around in 1994.
So, but you can't mail something and have it arrive on the same day. There was no
Yeah,
Prime.
first class signed for.
What?
First class signed for.
There was no Amazon
Express
Prime
delivery.
back in the day. No,
Send a drone.
No, but there was no drones back then, Jordan. So this is what I want to find out. And
Okay,
the
look,
fact
right.
that you're not providing me with an answer is really frustrating me because you're supposed to know.
Hang on. How long does it take to fly? Wait, so this is America, right? There was an American broadcast.
That's a Childish Gambino song, no?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Don't catch me slipping. This.
Jordan's just crumbled. Yes.
You got me. Right. How long does it take, do you reckon, to fly to Africa from America? Can you do it in less than 12 hours, do you reckon? I think it's less than a 12-hour flight.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Right. So even in that situation, they can get a tape across. They probably have some sort of airstrip that they can fly literally. And if they had to physically send it, they could still physically send it within that time. That's what I'm saying. If they don't have another means of sending it that would be even faster.
Maybe. Okay.
No, not maybe. Yes.
Okay, fine. Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
I'll accept that decision.
Thank you.
Okay, Jordan, if you were to bring someone into this film,
Yep.
who would you bring in?
Iron Man.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, and the reason, what I'm going to do here, right, is I'm going to bring Hotel Rwanda into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No. That's not how that works. No, that's not how that works.
No. Just entertain me here.
Okay, I'll entertain you.
Entertain me here.
Right.
It's after the events of this film and by bringing Iron Man in, that's what it's going to lead to.
Okay.
So Don Cheadle also plays War Machine in the Iron Man films, which is like basically Iron Man.
Who even is that?
Yeah,
Not-
I was
not Iron
literally
Man.
just about to explain it,
Who
and
is
then
that-
you
who
just
is War
interrupted
Machine?
me.
Jordan, who is War Machine?
Are you done? Are you done? Okay.
I can't guarantee that, Jordan.
War Machine.
Jordan, who's-
Fuck you. War Machine is a commander in the military or something who's best pals with Tony Stark. Okay. Eventually, Tony gives him another Iron Man suit, and then he does stuff for the military as War Machine, which is like a heavily armored, heavily militarized Iron Man suit.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, in Iron Man 1, Iron Man's first sort of act of heroism is coming into a country that is being torn apart by civil war and just like dismantles lots of terrorists. I want to have that situation where Iron Man comes to the hotel and at the nick of time manages to save people. This inspires Paul Rusesabagina, to then become War Machine, and he becomes like friends with Tony Stark. And from that on, that's where that relationship comes on. And then Hotel Rwanda replaces almost like Iron Man 1 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's how that starts it all off.
So you're saying a white person saves the day?
Yes.
So a white person has to come in and save
a white
the day.
rich man comes in and saves the day.
Oh, for fuck's
Which,
sake.
let's be honest, is actually kind of not what would really happen. A white rich man would just leave and not do anything.
I mean, that's exactly what did happen.
That is exactly what happened.
Because the owner of the hotel was
so
like...
if anything, I'm giving whites a chance.
You're giving us an out?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that.
What about you, Kieran? Are you
cool.
going to bring in?
I'd bring in Black Panther.
Okay, yeah, well that's great, isn't it? We'll just introduce
in
the
some
state
Marvel.
of Wakanda,
Well, yeah,
and they'll
well-
just bring everyone over there.
Yes, or absolutely. Like the refugees can all just go to Wakanda.
Yeah.
But also Black Panther, I feel like he does a bit of conflict resolution.
He's a good diplomat.
There's that. You've seen that film 4 times?
Yeah, fit 5 times now.
Right. So you know a lot more about the story, but I feel like there is a few different tribes, right?
It within Wakanda?
Yeah, and no, well, just like within the story, within that film, there's tribes who have beef.
Yeah.
And also, right at the start of the film, when he becomes a Black Panther,
Yeah.
it's like, does anyone want to contest this? And they've got their own thing about different tribes and how they can fix the whole thing.
They have other tribes. Yeah.
So how's about we bring Black Panther in, and he's like, guys, I do this thing back at my place where when someone becomes a new Black Panther, they can contest it.
Yeah.
So how's about we do that for the head of the Tutsis and the head of the Hutus? You know,
Mhm.
I'll do a demo. We can role play this,
Yeah.
and then you guys can do it.
Yeah.
How's about that? And if anyone wants to argue with me, I will fuck you all up. So
So here's what's going to happen.
yeah, exactly. So he would just lay it down like that, and
Okay.
then I reckon it would just be dealt with so much easier. And anyone who didn't like it, he would just screw them all over.
Yeah, that works.
There we go.
You've just from that as well. We could also do a similar thing from what I did in the start of Black Panther. We have him go. He goes in and sort of deals with some terrorists that have like stolen some people.
Oh, yeah.
Right? What if the start of Black Panther happens with him liberating the hotel?
Oh,
We've just joined it into this Marvel Cinematic Universe again.
Right.
Hotel Rwanda is destined to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hotel Wakanda.
Yeah.
This is wicked because
They
we've done
just
this-
open up a new chain, a new what's it called?
new chain.
location
Yeah.
for the Sabina.
This is brilliant. Oh man, this is great. I like it when we tie different universes in. We
Yeah.
did it with what was it before? Winnie the Pooh and and
Marvel
bloody-
Cinematic Universe.
what was the freaking? What's that film?
My Neighbor Totoro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My Neighbor Pooh. If you were to be someone in the film,
So I think I'd be Dubé.
oh okay, cool.
And I would just So Dubé obviously has expressed that he's like worried about losing his job and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's obviously quite close to Paul, who is the manager.
Mm.
These are hard times. What I would do is I would be Paul's right hand man as Dubé. You know, be there more for him.
Uh-huh.
Go on all of that. When Gregoire and they went to go see the guy, I would be there as well. I would just like make sure I'm always available, and then because Paul's obviously doing a great thing here.
Mhm.
So you're helping to do good,
Mhm.
and at the same time, you may be able to swing yourself a better position if all this turns out okay. You know, you will definitely be creating a bond there with Paul, who could potentially be quite influential and put you in another position that would be good. Like, you know, it's a continual professional development. You know,
CPD.
Yeah, it's a good
Okay.
business strategy.
It's like an apprenticeship.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I see how that
What
works.
about you?
I think I would be. I'm going to do one of those things that helps the film end quickly,
Okay.
which is I would probably be the general
Yeah.
of the.
And just not be a cunt.
First of all, not be a cunt, but also I would try and put more effort into taking down the radio station.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
to put it
Yeah.
very lightly, that radio station is a hassle.
It is.
And because they can mobilize super quickly by
Mhm.
being like, what was the code word? Like, we have to cut down the tall
Cut the
trees.
tall trees. Yeah.
And yeah, so if there just wasn't the radio station, even halfway through the film, and after loads of shit's gone down, it would still enable loads of things to not happen.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's solid. That would probably, if not end it, then it would definitely make things a lot easier to deal with.
exactly.
Yeah.
So would you stay indoors to watch this film?
Yeah. I feel like I should have already have seen this film.
Does it deserve to be in the top 250?
It does definitely deserve to be in the top 50. Absolutely.
Cool.
I would say it should probably be higher than the 190s where it is.
Yeah, me too.
I'm quite surprised by that. It was
shocked me
also
too.
one of the only films that's ever had its rated. It was originally when it came out, it was rated R.
Oh, really?
Meaning that people
It's R for
under
really.
17 couldn't come and see it. They appealed this, and it got changed to like a PG-13 sort of thing.
Mate, that's not a PG-13.
No,
It
it's
should be a
not. It's
15.
not. But because of the content, it's like people need to be able to see this.
Ah.
That's what. Yeah, and it's one of the only films that's ever had its rating changed without any edits done to the film.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I feel like that alone should give it standing to be a little bit higher. It's made like records. It's broken,
Mm-hmm.
records.
Yeah, it's made records. It's broken.
It's made records. It's broken records. Watch out for Hotel Rwanda's next
Record it
hip
on
hop
your phone.
album,
Yeah.
dropping 2019. Hotel Wakanda.
There we go. I would definitely stay indoors to watch this film. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And cry 3 times. I would cry 3 more times to watch this film again.
Okay.
It's not easy viewing, but it is a really, really good film.
Yeah, I'd say it's not easy viewing, but it's essential viewing sort of thing.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
good
yeah,
way
yeah,
of
yeah,
learning
yeah.
about that because I had no idea about any of that.
It's
stuff.
really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, it's awesome.
So, what are we watching next week, Kieran?
Next week, we are watching Wall-E,
Wall-E.
which I'm hoping will soothe my pains
Me
considerably.
too. Yeah, I need like warm I just need to be warm.
I just need warm.
I just need warm.
Give me warm. So I hope that Wally will give me warm.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. You've got a week to watch it, and then you can join us on this magical adventure.
And you can send in your 15-second pitch as well.
You can indeed.
And also, we might even put it on the show. So
yeah, if you send in, we might put it on if it's good.
Where would we put that, Jordan?
We would put it in the podcast.
Yep. I mean, where people... That was the wrong question. Where can people send it to, Jordan?
Oh, okay, I see. So you can send that to 250reasons@gmail.com.
There we go. So go do that thing.
Go do that.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, bye.
See ya.
And we are out of here. We're going to a brilliant sunny resort in Morocco. We've got a fortress made out of sand. You can find us while we're there on at 250 Reasons on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know, all those social media.
We'll be posting pictures of our little sand castle.
Just go over and say hello.
And you can also find us and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Acast, and Stitcher.
YouTube?
Check us out on YouTube as well.
That's the one. Leave us a review. Go on, do it.
Say some nice
things.
things.
You have to do it.
Yeah, no, just like get in touch. A little 15-second pitch did no one any harm ever.
Never, ever.
Ever. Yeah, say some nice things. And we'll reply to them.
Yep.
All right. Bye.